Let's cash in at Kansas Speedway. That's right. The NASCAR Cup and O'Reilly Auto Parts Series all go racing in America's heartland this weekend. We get you set in on the action with our best bets next, right here on the back road.
I don't drive a Monte Carlo, and my truck ain't painted black. It ain't got a big white number 3 turning left around the track.
All right, and welcome down the back road in between media's NASCAR betting show. We're already 2 months into the season. Summer weather has come early across the country, and vibes are high as the Cup and O'Reilly Auto Parts Series head to Kansas Speedway, one of the best tracks currently on the circuit. We'll, of course, get you set from a gambling standpoint. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, joined by the man behind the machine, the data and projection specialist here at IBT, known pole and outright market shark. He is Chris Collichio. Chris, how's it hanging, dude? And how are you as we prepare to go back to 1.5 mile racing this weekend?
Seth, it's always a blast to be on the show. So I'm juiced to be here tonight. Good racing at Bristol, honestly. At Briscoe. That's funny. That's a foreshadowing. But yeah, no, good racing at Bristol. But I'm excited. Yeah, like you said, to get back to Kansas. We've got a few tracks we can look at just to kind of see. But yeah, we talked a little bit before the show. It's a little bit more predictable than some of these short tracks have been. So I'm excited to get in some bets tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We were chatting about it, and famous to one of your big outrights back in the day, one of the first big flag hunting hits, and always been good to Elliott, Rod, and I over here on the back road as well. So we appreciate you being here with us, and also appreciate all the audience members hanging out with us as well. Marcus checked in here about an hour and a half ago or so. So Marcus in here early. We appreciate that. Asking who everyone's picks are for Kansas. Yes, put those in the comments below. We want to hear from you. And Jamie, grab your Busch Light. We're racing. And in honor of the Busch Light Apple scheme being back, we are dipping into the rest of the Busch Light Apple case. Chris, I'm on the very last of, I bought a couple cases, maybe 3 or 4 cases last year before we went to Pocono. And I'm on like the bottom shelf of the last case. So hanging in there by a thread, my friend.
Listen, I'm so jealous. We haven't seen Busch Apple down here in like 2 years, so I might just have to make myself up a trip to join you guys for the Pocono race just so I can get some Busch Apple.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. New baby on the way. That we might not allow that, but we'll tag you in for next year for sure. And tonight on the program, it does look like this, folks. We got in the rear view. We're going to be reviewing the weekend that was at Bristol Motor Speedway. Then we're going to go horizon forecast, a breakdown, everything there is to know about Kansas, and then our parking garage props. Chris and I's best bets for the race weekend in America's heartland. Be sure go over and check out the new channel that we have going on over there at In Between Media. And it's the Backroad sub channel. It's youtube.com/@the_backroad. That's where you can check out all the stuff we have going on, from the latest bonus shows to the full length shows. Also, Elliott's weekly bonus shorts that he's putting out there as well. So great stuff happening over there. If you guys could subscribe there after the fact as well, we would really appreciate that. Link to that in the episode description. And also another way you can continue to hang out with us after the fact as well is over in the IBT Racing family. That is our exclusive community where you can join to get access to chat with our analysts. Our memorabilia giveaways out there are for free as well. And then if you want to upgrade for $3.99 per month or $36 for the year, you're going to get access to Chris, Elliott, and I's full card every single week. Some of the bets we're making after the show ends. And then also the betting model that Chris puts together every week. And then the head-to-head matchups contest where I'm coming for you, Chris. I'm hunting you down slowly. And then this also include everything we have over in the IBT football family, the IBT entertainment family, and the IBT golf family. A lot of fun stuff happening all over there in those communities as well, whether it's the contest, whether it's the picks, whether it is the memorabilia giveaways and the models. We got you covered right there. And right now, still giving away two more free memberships for the end of the season. This is due to our good friend Trav's donation. You can't already be a paid member, but go ahead, drop a comment below on this video, not just in the live chat, but on this video. And that's all you have to do to enter. We also are looking out still for our boy Redman 661, who still needs to claim his prize. DM us on Twitter at IBT_media, or go to in-betweenmedia.com/chat. Join the community so we can upgrade you to get full access to those projections, the contests, and the picks. So yeah, we really appreciate all you guys are doing to support us. Chris, it's been a great year. And what do you say we rev it up once more as we head in the rear view and go past what could be a underwhelming Bristol week for many, except those Ty Gibbs backers out there. What do you say?
That's right. Let's do it.
Let's fire it up.
Baby, that's how you do it. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. You are the man. No way! We did it! Yeah!
All right. And what a week it was out there in Bristol Motor Speedway, Chris. This was from the start of the week. It was Ty Gibbs week, right? That's what everyone was saying in the chat. And I couldn't bet the number. I don't think you could bet the number. He was what, P4 maybe in our projections, and goes out there and runs a really nice race. But it was a race that was dominated for the most part by Kyle Larson, 284 laps led. Ryan Blaney leads on our 90, and then Ty Gibbs, he gets out in front, and then he holds it also after a late yellow that also mixes things up. What are your takeaways, Chris, from a fan perspective, from a gambling perspective, and just kind of what we saw unfold there with Ty Gibbs getting his first career win in the NASCAR Cup Series?
Yeah, I mean, first off, the props go out to Ty. I mean, he drove an incredible race. I mean, I can't take anything away from that. I did have some serious FOMO though, like once he actually did win, because like you said, I think he was actually third for us in the model last week. So it was right there in front of our face. For me though, and I think you felt the same way as me, like for all the guys that got him, he opened at like 30 in some places. It got bet down quick to 20s and 15s like that. I was comfortable with. Once it got down to 7, 8, 9, I was like, no way. Like, I'm not betting him against these favorites. But lo and behold, he was up there running with those guys that we were betting over top of him. So, yeah, I mean, all props to him, especially holding off a Ryan Blaney with four fresh tires, nonetheless. There at the end, just a great race by him. But, man, I'll tell you what, even though I'm not a fan of late cautions, I hate late cautions because it typically never goes your way betting-wise.
No.
But those last few laps were incredible. Like, just watching those two races, so clean, so pure. I mean, it was good racing. So, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that aren't loving what the current Bristol looks like, but I truthfully thought it should have been higher on Jeff Gluck's poll. I didn't think 67% of what it ended at was fair. I think it should have been way higher. I
completely agree with you. And it was one of those situations where you either had to get in on Ty Gibbs early or you had to be comfortable drinking, plus 900 on a driver that's never won before. And that's kind of where I stood, right? I didn't have the fastest trigger finger. I wasn't really keeping my head on a swivel early in the week, which shame on me. Elliott, I think, got him at 10-1. I did see him post P&Q around 10-1 too. And it's just like, it just feels a little too short. Ended up going on a top 10 instead. But I was also really impressed with guys like Tyler Reddick, who traditionally not very good at Bristol. And all of a sudden, right before, things got dicey between Gibbs and Blaney, in particularly those two, we had these two guys just mixing it and matching, man. And like Tyler Reddick all of a sudden looked like he had one of the faster cars after really unloading good to start the weekend too, qualifying on that front row. Yeah,
absolutely. Not a track for Reddick. I mean, I even have my Reddick back-to-back shirt on tonight. I'm a known Reddick guy, and I fade Tyler Reddick at Bristol typically. Crazy for him. And then another guy, Christopher Bell. I mean, I think had probably a top 3 car, and then has a bad pit stop and gets his nuts busted back there with the squirrels, and that's just all she wrote. So, yeah, I mean, there was plenty of guys I think that could have made this race super, super interesting at the end. But truthfully, I mean, I think Ty Gibbs was just the guy to beat. It was his day.
Yes, some other surprising top 10s. We had a Todd Gilliland sighting. Finally gets a nice little top 10 here. P6 for Mr. Gilliland. Ryan Preece with a nice top 10. Denny Hamlin. Disappointing, I would say, overall weekend for Denny Hamlin, Chris. I was expecting him to unload faster, specifically because we had him pretty high up in our projections. I think number 1 overall with a bullet, an A+ grade. So what do you think it was about the number 11 team? They just never really felt like they made up the track position and held that track position all day.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I actually listened to Hamlin's podcast this morning. He said that stage 1, he felt like he had the best car. And then he thinks that the rest of the field just caught up to him. Stage 2 and 3, they didn't make the right adjustments. So I don't know. Denny's one of those guys where, like, typically if a little cheat code on Denny is if he looks good in practice, he's going to be good. If he looks average in practice, he's going to be average. If he looks bad in practice, he's still going to be average. And I think that was the case this week, where he just looks kind of decent, and that was enough for me to kind of stay away. But yeah, I think he's going to be very much in the running for this week, though, so I wouldn't count him out for too long.
Over on the truck side on Friday night, we had a big controversy between Corey Heim and Christian Eckes. You know, I was drinking that top 5 juice on that ticket, and Christian Eckes once again throws maybe a questionable move out there in front of Corey Heim. Christopher Bell ends up taking the checkered flag. And then on Saturday, Connor Zilizch fights back with the help of Rodney Childers' pit call, holds off Brent Cruz, holds off Kyle Larson, goes to victory lane. Any other takeaways from the lower 2 series over the weekend, Chris?
Well, I mean, first off, I guess we'll start with, I know you're on the bad side of the Corey Heim bet, but I don't think Eckes actually did that on purpose.
Really?
I think it was just, I really don't. I think it was just miscalculated. I think he just misjudged. I think he just tried to shut the door and get back down low to try to like undercut him, and I think he just mistimed it. So I'm not on on.
You've been driving a truck for how long, Christian Eckes? You can't mistime that. Come on.
Yeah, I think he did. Truthfully, I do. Xfinity, man, or O'Reilly. There's $1 in the bucket.
Yeah,
O'Reilly. Man, even more of a credible finish than Cup. Maybe that was so fun watching those final laps. I think Brent Cruz obviously was the fastest car.
Yeah,
Hits got up in the wall. Then all of a sudden Larson has his chance. He gets in the wall, and Connor's back in victory lane, which I think is great for Connor. I think he needs to boost his confidence a little bit. So
agreed.
Yeah, I think it was a per usual O'Reilly race was maybe better than the Cup race.
Yeah, that's how it goes. We cashed 2 tickets over there myself. Justin Allgaier on that top 5. We just keep betting it, folks. It just keeps coming around. You just got to keep betting it. We were on JA there for 3 units minus 130. Had a Carson Quapple plus 180 top 5 come to the window as well. Elliott and I were squad riding on that for half a unit. Then on Sunday, I hit the Ty Gibbs top 10 minus 148 boosted for 2 units. The Tyler Reddick minus 160 lock of all locks against Rowdy. There was minus 600 something on Sunday for 2.5 units. And then at least like the one good thing, because we all knew it was Ty Gibbs week, but we didn't bet it, Chris. So we did have FOMO. I got the Ty Gibbs season win total over half a win plus 150 at the score bet for a unit and a half. So that at least like it was a bad weekend, just like the weekend itself, minus 6.5 units, the worst weekend we've had all year by far. But at least with that Ty Gibbs hit takes us back to like minus 4 units. So it's still not good, but not terrible. What about you? Any winning bets for the flag hunting card over the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, we started up hot. We had a third pole in a row. So we started up 5. Was it 5? Yeah, up 4.3 units to start Saturday. Then I had a lot of misses on Sunday, but I did have 2 hits. I had a Chase Briscoe top 5 and had a Cindric over Chastain matchup. So I actually finished the week. I forgot to, when I told you before the show, I forgot to add the qualifying in there. So I finished down 0.45 units. So
hey, we'll take
break even.
Yeah, we will take it. Great stuff there, my friend. Guys, let us know how you did at Bristol. Let us know if you think Christian Eckes is a son of a bitch like I do. We want to hear your responses to that. It was a really fun weekend out there. And you got to say, like, even though I do agree with you, I think it should have been a much higher rated race. I just think the racing is getting better, right? It's just getting a little more consistent. The tires, we're not having these, crazy lopsided races one way where it's too much wear, but there's also, enough wear every single week right now. So NASCAR is doing a really good job. And I think we're heading in the right direction, which moves us right into the Horizon Forecast, where we'll break everything you need to know about Kansas coming your way. Yeah, we got it back on the banner there too. Ross Chastain in that Busch Light Apple car. The entry list this week, though, looks like this. We got in the Cup Series 37 cars. Corey Heim back in that 67. Excited to see what he can do. Kansas always been a pretty good place for him in the Cup Series. And then also in the Riley Series, we have 37 cars. Cole Custer taking a trip back to that 0 car. And then William Byron going to be in the 88 this weekend. Some crew changes this weekend as well. Blaney, Barry, they have swapped Jackman. We also have the former crew chief of Daniel Suarez filling in for Miles Stanley as Barry's crew chief this weekend as well. That is Matt Swerdisky. So shout out to Matt Swerdisky getting back in action a little bit here. And on the schedule, then we also have Friday night, we have 7 p.m. Eastern time at O'Reilly P&Q. Again, no Truck Series race this weekend. 4 p.m. on Saturday, then that's going to be your Cup practice and qualifying. So sleep in a little bit, get some rest, get some yard work done, get back for P's and Q's at 4, and then 7:09 Eastern time. We're going green for the Kansas Lottery 300 stage. Breaks 45, 45, and 110 to end that thing. And then on Sunday, 2:19 green on Fox. I love the 2 o'clock starts, Chris. Like, I'm a little too antsy that, like, you know me, I watch a lot of DVR races anyways, just because I do like to get out. But like, either give it to me like right after church or like give it to me at night. Like, I got too much stuff. Like, and I'm too OCD on a Sunday to sometimes sit still. So I appreciate the 2:19. It gets me a little bit more ready to go, and I'm not falling asleep in the chair by 3 o'clock.
Agreed. As a dad, the 2 o'clock window is a lot easier too, because the 4 o'clock window cuts into like dinner and bath and bedtime, you know? So
Yes.
like, again, I need to be like a little earlier or a little later. So we're on the same page.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And when the kids come in a couple of years for me, I know that I'm already on the same wavelength as you. Stage breaks for those. You got 80, 85, and 102 will take us home for that one. So going to be a beautiful night out there in Kansas. We got Nick checking up. What's going on, Nick? Great to see you, man. And here we go. Hunter also saying it. Eka screwed up my bets with time. Honeycutt and Lane Riggs all involved. Look, I would be like double mad, Hunter, because I was on that Corey Heim top 5 pretty heavy, and I was almost going to lay the Lane Riggs top 5 as well. And Honeycutt was a guy you had to have on your card some way. So trust me, if you want to start a screw Christian Eckes campaign, I'll be the first to sign, man. I'll be the first to sign. And then Nick throwing out his Xfinity Series drivers to watch. This week, he's got Ryan Sieg, Sam Mayer, Brandon Jones, and Corey Day. Okay, I like that little top 4 action there for you. Let's go ahead, though, Chris. Let's break down this track, because Kansas is always one of the more unique ones on the circuit. 1.5 mile intermediate track. Mini Michigan is what a lot of people will call this, right? The primary comp is going to be Las Vegas, which is great because we have been there once this season in this similar setup as well. And then our secondary comps, we got Michigan, Charlotte, and Texas. Anything that we should know from your standpoint, whether that's from a comparison standpoint or an overall breakdown of this track, or just anything you factored into the betting projections this week that we should just kind of be privy to?
Yeah, I mean, I have the same comps. The only difference is I'm actually viewing Charlotte as the primary over Vegas. I think Vegas has just a tad more tire wear than we see at Kansas. Kansas is more of like mid tire wear rather than high. I wouldn't consider it high tire wear, which is more comparable to Charlotte, which I know we haven't been there yet. So I did obviously factor in just a little bit more of Vegas than I normally would, just for the fact that we've been there. Michigan's a tough one for me. I know everyone sees it that way, but I just think Michigan it just races so much different. So I lean more towards Vegas, Charlotte, and Texas, but I do think we need to keep this in mind for the future, because I do think this is going to be a really big comp for Chicagoland and for Homestead. So it's a big track that for upcoming tracks that we're going to be able to compare to. So I'm liking this week more for the future than I am for what we have so far this year.
Random question, but would you rather have on the schedule in 2027 Chicagoland or Kentucky?
Oh, I think Chicagoland. I'm going to lean Chicagoland still.
Okay. I'm a big Kentucky guy. Kentucky, it's one of the closer tracks to Elliott and I out here in Western PA, but I've driven past Kentucky a few times since it's been no longer on the schedule. I'm just like, man, love to get there.
I will say I'm a little biased because I have a friend who lives up in the Chicago area, and he had the Road America taken from him, and then the Chicago Street Race taken from him.
No.
So Chicagoland, I mean, we just need to get that area. We need to get them another race up there, because there's a lot of good fans up there.
Always got. Yeah, I feel you there for sure. Let's look at a couple of the trends we have this weekend as well, Chris. This will be the 9th next-gen race here in America's Heartland. Active winners include Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, Reddick, Chastain, Elliott, one each in the next-gen era. Other than Chastain in fall of 24, every winner has started inside the top 8. So usually you're going to want to qualify, have a good Saturday. Chastain that year in the fall of 24, he did qualify in 20th. Larson, spring of 25, the only driver to actually win from the pole, which is interesting. And he's the only repeat winner in the last 11 Kansas races, dating back all the way to October 2020. Pole winners, we got Bell with 4. That's a great. What's the number for Bell right now out there in the pole market?
It's like plus 475, but I have a point I'm going to bring up on Bell in a little bit that will tie back to this.
Okay. Reddick, Byron, Larson, Briscoe, 1 each as well. Kind of your usual suspects there. Next gen active lap leaders. We got Larson 499, Hamlin 330, Bell 240, Alex Bowman actually 115, which I was kind of surprised to see that. And then Chase Elliott 115. So a lot of Hendrick up there. You got your Joe Gibbs Racing. And that's pretty much it at the top of the board there for lap leaders. Overall, this track has been around since 2001. Winners overall have won from the pole 20% of the time, front row 25% of the time, top 5 50% of the time, and top 10 68% of the time. A little bit lower actually than sometimes we see those numbers, so I thought that was somewhat interesting. But again, next gen, you are going to want to be inside that top 10, but it's not necessarily something that you need to be a top 3, a top front row qualifier to win this race. Active average starting position leader Christopher Bell 7.5. An active average finish leader, Chase Elliott, 9.9. I got him on the card. We'll talk about him later. And 3 next-gen races and 7 all-time have gone to overtime. Let's keep it green this week. And we'll go ahead and also get into the iFantasyRace.com asterisk mark driver of the week. Ryan Blaney, top 10 performer last fall at Kansas, but finished with an asterisk mark 24th place in that race. As we know, really hurt Blaney's overall playoff chances. Blaney started in the rear of the field in a backup car, finished stage 1 in 15th, finished stage 2 in 9th, made his way up there, but he was in 9th on lap 250. And then a few laps later during a caution, Blaney was caught speeding on pit road, which led to that poor result. In terms of total speed rankings from iFantasyRace.com, Blaney ranked 10th. How are you on Blaney this week? He's not on either one of our cards, but is he someone you're fading or someone just like, hey, I kind of want to see it, but he's been unloading pretty quickly. And really, like, there's been a lot of weeks that we're going in there, and it's 4-1 for Ryan Blaney, if not less, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Blaney is in discussion no matter where we go. I mean, I don't think you can throw track history out the door because Blaney is just fast everywhere. I mean, look at even COTA this year. When has Ryan Blaney ever been fast at a road course? And I think he was a top 3 or 4 car at COTA.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, there's been other tracks recently. I think Darlington maybe is a track that he's not good at. We saw him be good there. I mean, he's just fast everywhere. Now, with that being said, he's a terrible qualifier, especially here. He actually ranks 22nd for me in qualifying this week. So I think this asterisk mark is legit because I do expect him to start further back and have to work his way up. And I just don't know if he's going to have enough to get past the Larsons, the Bells, the Hamlins. I just think that's too much of an ask. So Blaney, I mean, he's always a guy that I think, maybe like Allgaier in O'Reilly, where like a top 5 for Blaney seems like a lock this year.
Right.
But I just don't think I'm going to get on him outright this week.
It feels like if you get invested with Ryan Blaney, really from any market standpoint, I'm doing it post-practice and qualifying, right? And I just think in general, Chris, this is one of those weeks that I am keeping a little more in the holster. I was a little, and part of that, is I think both of you, you and I are a little scarred coming off last week. We were maybe a little too over-invested pre-practice and qualifying, at least myself, that I want to keep a little more in the holster. I've been having really good luck with these Sunday bets, getting some boost over there from BetRivers on Sundays as well. So gonna keep Ryan Blaney in mind for someone to potentially bet on Sunday. But right now, pre-practice and qualifying, we don't really advise getting invested with him. But great to know that iFantasyRace.com always looking out for us over there in the asterisk mark report. Also, before we get into the best bets, we want to remind y'all that WannaParlay is creating fun and exciting competitions that connect people. WannaParlay really embodies the joy of winning, the heartbreak of almost winning, and all the other emotions that you experience during competition. From the brains of 2 former Kansas State college football players, go Wildcats, baby. It's all about stacking legs, competing with real sports lovers like yourself, and getting real cash wins every single day. You can 1,000 times your money and cash out fast. Are you ready to get in on the game and flex those parlay legs, baby? Download the app for iOS and Android and get a 100% match bonus when you use the code IBT at signup. Again, that's code IBT at signup. You're going to get a 100% match bonus at WannaParlay. Link to that, of course, in the episode description. We appreciate them for their support, and we appreciate you checking them out as a way to support us. And Chris, what do you say, man? It's that time. Let's fire it up for a little parking garage props. All right. We're looking at the books this week. Chris, what were your overall thoughts? I thought, honestly, especially in outright markets, it felt a bit juiced to me that I actually have no outrights pre-flop just because this is one of those tracks. I do think there's 4 to 5 drivers I feel pretty confident that could win this thing, maybe more. When you factor in guys who've been fast on this track, like a Tyler Reddick, like a Chris Buescher, who aren't even inside our top 5 of our projections. So for me, I wasn't overly enthused, but I still think it's one of those weeks you can find value. You just have to sniff around and make sure you're doing your fair share of shopping.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a conversation I want to get into a little bit, but I think I'm curious to see. I guess I'll go ahead and kind of talk about. I'll lead into it, but I'm curious to see how much the odds actually change after qualifying, because I feel like they've kind of set themselves up for what they think it's going to look like after qualifying, and I don't know that there's going to be a ton of change. So like unless like you mentioned, like a Bubba, a Reddick, a Buescher, one of those guys hits the pole, I mean, that's really the only ones that's going to make the market really change that much. But otherwise, they've kind of positioned themselves to say, here's your top 4 guys, try to pick your favorite, and good luck. So yeah, it does feel really short to click any of those guys pre-qualifying.
And let's talk about one of those favorites, Chris, because you're leaning towards the Christopher Bell outright. But is this something that, hey, let's keep our head on a swivel for Sunday, see if we can get a boost, see if we can get maybe a better number after the fact, or if we can just take the same number that's currently out there?
Okay, so here's my discussion on Christopher Bell. He ranks 3rd for me in my qualifying model this week. I think is not quite enough for me to bet like the plus 475s out there, plus 450s in qualifying for the pole. Plus 650 on the outright is interesting, but here's the caveat. He's going to be going out in qualifying order 15th, so basically middle of the pack. It is really hard to qualify that well, that going out that early. So with that being said, how much do we think his odds actually change? Like if, let's just say he goes out 15th and qualifies, I don't know, we'll just say 15th. Do you think his odds get any longer, or do you think he stays where he is? Because if he stays where he is, then it may be worth the click. But I think we might have a chance at a longer number here just because I don't think he's going to qualify well, despite what he does in practice.
Yeah, I think that's super fair. And he's someone that I wanted to try to find a way to get C-Bell on the card, but it's just a little bit too juicy. Like he's plus 110 right now. Best odds you're going to get for a top 5. Most books, he's, minus money as far as down as minus 155. And like, to me, if I'm betting those type of numbers, it's a different driver that I'm going to drink that juice on, not someone like Christopher Bell, who, been a little up and down lately. He's had a lot of speed, but hasn't always gotten the finishes he's deserved, I felt like, over the first, 8 or so races of this season. So I'm completely in agreement with you. I think he's someone we need to keep in mind this weekend as it progresses, but someone I don't necessarily think we need to rush right now to bet. But let's slow roll this. Again, keep up with Chris and I and Elliott's betting cards in the IBT Racing family over there at in-betweenmedia.com/chat. You'll see our full cards in there if you're an upgraded member. And if we do end up getting on Bell, we'll make sure we let you know in the chat as well. Let's go ahead, Chris. You do have an outright currently placed, though, and shocker with this one. It's your old pal Tyler Reddick.
Yeah. I mean, I wore the shirt for a reason, right? I couldn't not bet Tyler Reddick. Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting case, right? Because I wouldn't say that Reddick has the greatest history here, but that's mainly just finishes. The finishes haven't been great. He's had a lot of speed here. Let's also not forget that 2311. This is like, do you remember the Kurt Busch Michael Jordan car that he won in? That was here. That was Kansas.
Oh yes.
If you remember the year after that when Bubba got in the car, same 45. They won in that car. So this 45 car, they've got this place figured out. Now they haven't done so well in recent years, but this is just me taking a shot on the number because the history here for that team, that car in particular, the fact that Tyler Reddick has been fast everywhere this year, pretty much. I mean, he's been on a rocket this year. I mean, he doesn't have 3 wins for nothing. Or was it 4 wins now?
Four wins. And
4 wins.
He was so bad at like Bristol before last week too, that like, who saw that coming? Yeah.
So this is really just me playing on the number here of, for a guy that's been so fast this year, who is really, really good at the intermediates. I think he's going to qualify well. He ranks pretty high for me in qualifying. I think he's like third or fourth last car to go out. So he's going to be pretty late in the qualifying order as well. So I'm just banking on this number getting shorter. That's really just me. I'm just going for CLV here, to be completely honest with you, and just kind of hoping that Tyler's going to show some speed. Because I do think overall, I do expect Toyota mainly JGR to be fast, but I think Toyota as a whole should be fast. So yeah, why not have Reddick at the 10-1 number? I like it. I love it a lot.
No, I completely agree with you. And he's someone I was actually looking at potentially fading in a matchup head to head against Kyle Larson, but it was pretty heavy juice. And then when I looked closer at it, like Tyler Reddick is no slouch, dude. And specifically, like that performance last week just scares me because he's figuring it out everywhere now, right? And he's putting it together. You look at the momentum driver rating that you added last week for the first time, I think or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, a couple weeks ago, in the model you added to it. And he's 35th in driver rating momentum for the last 6 races. He's excuse me, second in that, and then he's also fourth then in momentum average finish. So you look there, you like what you see. You look at driver rating at Kansas in the next gen era, it's been really, really strong. Number 2, you look at total speed rankings, he's number 3 in the next gen era. So a guy who can get around here. The finishes aren't great, as you said, but you can look past that. So I'm completely there with you. And sometimes hunting CLV pays off, and sometimes you're like me last week where I thought I hit the gold mine on William Byron 31, and I was like, Kalshi knew. Kalshi,
he should have been 50-1.
They had post practice qualifying odds out before everyone else apparently. So yeah. Looks like we got Chamberlain here in the chat as well saying, did anyone catch when Boyer called the 66 a chicane? I did not catch that. I didn't
either. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I have to sometimes remove myself and like from the broadcast for a second and just like, just watch with my eyes and turn the volume down sometimes when it's Fox, honestly, just because I do notice a lot of that stuff, Chamberlain, and then like, so there was a couple weeks ago a stat a couple weeks ago, Chris, that they threw out and said RFK's finished top 10 every single race. And I was like, what are you and I was like, what are you talking about? They definitely have. And I don't know if they're saying like 8 and RFK cars finished top 10 every race,
maybe.
But even that still wasn't true. So I think they're just making stuff up, Chamberlain. So I'm there.
Yeah, and honestly, a cheat code for me is just mute your TV and turn on PRN instead, because PRN is so much better.
Yes, I do. Like right now, I'm in the process of redoing my basement with my and kind of making in one section a man cave, and that is something I'm desperately trying to do, is hook in a radio so we can fire that up, and I don't have to listen to Boyer and the Boys anymore. But yeah, I'll listen to Amazon. And usually I'll run some NBC too. But yeah, I completely feel you on that one. Let's stay here, or let's get out of the placement or outright markets and go to the placement props, where I got 2 fun ones I kind of want to throw out first. These are kind of more the ones I'm looking to get in on if I want a bit longer shot of some action. And really, like, I'm betting on maybe a Trackhouse bounce back, because it's been bad, Chris. I mean, this has been arguably the most disappointing team, I'd say, the entire garage so far this season. Ross, though, he comes in this week 9th in the projection. So for a top 10 plus 270, he was out there 55-1 earlier today for an outright tune. I just couldn't. I thought that was maybe wasting a little bit of money just because we haven't seen the speed. But in our projections, he's last B driver that we have graded 5th in Kansas next gen average finish, 10.1, top 10 50% of the time, worst finish at P19. And while he wasn't great at Kansas last year by any means, and he failed to score a top 10 in both of those races, he was 3rd in average comp finish last year. He won the Coke 600. That was spectacular. I was down there sipping on some poolside margaritas down there in the Dominican, and that was lovely to watch Ross do that. I was watching, so I couldn't actually watch the race, Chris, because like none of the streaming apps work in another country. So I was watching some guy like illegally stream it. I think his name was Big Tony on TikTok, and had my wife's phone. I was watching that, but Big Tony got me through. But then 6th at Michigan, 2nd at Texas, and 5th at Vegas. Won last season, 23rd at Vegas too, 17th at this year's Vegas. So those are like the detractors, right? He hasn't been good at the last 2 Vegases, some of our closest comp tracks. But to me, like plus 270 just feels like a really generous number on someone like Ross. And this has even been bet down before we went live. It was closer to 240 I was seeing, but it feels like a generous number because I don't know if I've ever seen Ross since he started going on that tear in 2022 be at plus 270. For a top 10 on an intermediate. So it just feels like a time, like, let's not get overly invested, but half a unit feels about right for me on this one.
Yeah. I don't mind it at all. I mean, we just talked about the winners from outside the top 20 not being that frequent here. Mm-hmm. He was the only guy to do it in the next gen era. He started 20th and won the fall race in 2024. So a guy that and we saw him doing it at Charlotte last year. So although he's been, I was on the the draft show a few weeks ago, and
Okay.
I called Trackhouse Trash House. It was kind of like it just kind of slipped out.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've really been really bad. But I think this is a place where we would expect Ross to kind of show up a little bit. And I agree, plus 270. I mean, that could be gone after post practice qualifying, because he although he's not a great qualifier, they're always in race trim, so we're gonna know exactly what he looked like.
I will say this, Chris. I think if we don't see any speed out of Trackhouse this weekend, I will be concerned to the point where the next road course we go, which I believe is Watkins Glen, I do not think I'll be betting SVG on the outright, because I just don't trust the equipment that much. Because he's always been a little bit slower, and their equipment's always been a bit worse than other people at COTA. So I don't really write that off too heavily. But if we can't show up here at Kansas, man, with another driver that I'm going to talk about, I will be concerned for sure. And that goes right into Connor Zillish top 20 here, plus 165 at our friends over at Kalshi. Half a unit down for me as well. I thought about going on the top 10, but I just wanted to play a little bit safer, and a great option now with the prediction markets legal in every state. So love that we can get back into the top 20 markets, which we used to only get on super speedways once or twice a year. So really cool opportunity here. And it's been a really rough season for CZ, man. And like, he's doing way worse than I think anyone thought he was going to, especially me. I am ranked 12th in my preseason power rankings. That looks terrible now. However, he was at least P18 in his last intermediate track at Darlington. You love to see that. And his Xfinity stats here and at the comps are really strong. P2 here last fall, P2 at Charlotte, P9 and P2 in Vegas last season in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. And maybe that O'Reilly Series win last week, Chris, maybe sparked something in Connor Zillich to get, hey, let's get things in the right direction here in Cup and start heading in here. So it's at least good enough for me to think he can maybe score a top 20 plus 165. I never thought we'd be getting, one, I never thought we'd be betting top 20s this season. And two, I never thought we'd see Connor Zillich at a track like this at plus 165, nearly 2-1 odds.
Yeah. I have a little bit of an egg on my face too for Connor, because I came into the season pretty guns blazing for the over half a win on Connor. And I mean, to be fair, I mean, I just thought he was going to win at a road course, and just thought he was going to steadily improve at the intermediates and short tracks. And I think he's doing just that. Like, I think we're seeing him steadily improve. Like, I think he's going to get a little bit better as the season goes. So yeah, I have no arguments here. I just hope that Trackhouse has a better showing than they did at Vegas, because I think Vegas was, I think Shane Vegasbergen was dead last. I think Connor was 32nd and Ross was like 18th. So they have to have better, they have to show up better here. Yeah,
they absolutely do. I completely agree. I got a 2-unit down on a Connor Zillich minus 105 season win total ticket. And I do not feel good. It feels probably like my worst win total ticket I've taken in probably 2 or 3 years right now. So last year was a generational future Elliott and I took on that 1.5 in the O'Reilly Series. This year it might be a generational fail, but we got a quick question here I want to get to before we get to a couple more of our bets. First, we got our guy Steely Dan checking in saying Ross disdain. That's how it kind of feels this year, Steely. Hope you're doing well up there in Erie, man. And Andrew checking in. What do you think about Bowman with a strong top 10 history, but his current form is questionable? Chris, he ranks high. Like, it's another year or another week where Bowman, P12 in the projections. The finish is really strong here as well. You look specifically in the spring, 7.0 average finish for Alex Bowman, 9.56 here in the next gen era. So I do agree. It's just, he's someone like, it's hard to bet him right now just because of the recent form coming back off the injury. Do you like, what would be the number you'd have to get invested with, do you think, for a Bowman top 10?
Oof. I mean, outright, I don't think I could. I just don't think there's no way he's going to win a race. I don't. Not right now. What
about top 10? He's plus 260. Is that, I still think it's not terrible, but I think I need a little bit more.
Yeah. I think you give me like 354. Maybe I'll be looking in and I'll be interested. But yeah, I think it's not only Bowman, right? Not only is he coming back from vertigo, which by the way can just flare back up at any time, by the way. But also like Hendrick has not looked like Hendrick this year. So
will he be out to lunch last week?
Yeah. I mean, I just think that there's more problems here in general with the overall team than even just the 48 specifically. So yeah, I mean, look at last week too. I mean, I know it was his first week back, but Bristol's another great track for him. I think he ranked like 8th last week for us, and I wasn't even touching him because I think a lot of podcasts even talked about it too. That it was wild that Hendrick even brought him back at a track like Bristol. That's just insane to even think that. But maybe they wanted to get him back up to speed for this week. I don't know. We'll see. But I think I'm just staying away for one more week at least.
I totally agree. And betting on Hendricks can feel like a little bit of a fool's errand. It did for me last week. It was the first time I've been invested with them in quite a few weeks, and did not pay off. But hey, man, sometimes you never learn your lesson. So I'm going right back to the well here. I'm gonna take a shot. If there's one guy I think you have to take a shot on, it is Kyle Larson. Top 5. I got him plus 110 at BetRivers, 2.5 units down on this, and I do have more faith in Larson really than I have all season coming into this week, Chris. Highest rated driver in the projections for a good reason, right? Number 4 in momentum driver rating, number 4 in momentum average finish. So he's been hot as of late, has delivered at tracks where we expect him to be good at. Bristol, Vegas, Phoenix, he's been good at all those. 2nd in comp track starting position, 5th in average finish in 2025. Add in Las Vegas this year, and he's got a 50% top 5 rate, including that P7 there in the spring and P9 last spring as well at Vegas. So he's someone just at Kansas, though, like that's what I care about. This guy's super strong here in the Heartland during the next gen era, 4th in drive rating, 6th in average running position, average finish of 6.3, 5 top 5s in 8 races, 2 runner-up, 2 wins in that span, a 1.5 average finish in the spring, Chris. That might, first of all, I love that you sort this out between spring finish and fall finish. That really helps as a consumer. And a 1 average, 5 average finish in the spring might be the shockingest number I've seen in that metric all year.
Oh, absolutely. When I put that together, I was like, oh my God, am I really looking at what I'm seeing? But yeah, no, 100%. I didn't put this in the sheet, but actually I saw you putting this in the sheet and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm getting on board with this too, because plus money on top 5 for Larson just feels like a steal, honestly. I mean, yeah. I know we just poo-pooed Hendrick and how bad they've looked this year. Not bad, but I guess just not how up to par they would normally look at this point in the season. I think last week was the first test for me where I was like, if Larson doesn't look good at Bristol, then there's real issues here. I think he was a top 4-ish car probably last week. This week, though, if he's not a top 3 car this week, then there's problems with this new Chevy body, because Larson is incredible here. You just said it, 1.5. First, second, first in the last 3 spring races here. Crazy. It's absolutely insane. He also tops my qualifying model this week, which we're about to lead into. So I think this is he's going to start up front. I expect him to be there all day, and I think the top 5 is the safer play for sure.
Minus 250 right now on FanDuel. I've seen him for minus 200 over on Kalshi as well. So if the fact that our friends over at Rivers are continuing to give us really, really great placement prop odds, we really appreciate that. And Chris, keep it here with Kyle Larson, because you also are on him for Saturday to win that poll.
I am. Yep. So I just kind of alluded to it. He's number 1 for me in qualifying. Let me actually pull up the numbers here. Sorry, you went to that really fast. Kyle Larson. So in the last 5 races here, 1st, 3rd, 11th, 4th, and 1st, and then the spring races, 1st, 4th, 1st in qualifying. So yeah, definitely tops it for me. And then I think at Vegas, let me see how he did at Vegas. Kyle Larson was Vegas 5th at Vegas. So we've already seen him qualify really, really well, even just this year in this specific package, because Darlington we were in the higher horsepower. Yep. So Vegas we're going back down to the 560 or 660, whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, I think this is long. What I kind of alluded to earlier with Christopher Bell, I know we talked about how he had 4 poles here, but going out 15th, I don't think he should be the favorite. I think Larson should be the favorite. I think the odds are wrong right now. So truthfully, I jumped all over the 650 as soon as I saw it, and I think that's also why I then jumped on the top 5 with you, because I was like, well, if I'm betting for the pole, I might as well jump on the top 5 as well, because he's going to be up there.
And you also like Denny Hamlin for a pole bet. What's the story there?
Same. It's similar. He ranks, let's see, I think he ranked 3rd for me between basically Bell and Larson. Let me just verify that. Okay, actually 4th. He ranked 4th for me. This is more of just a banking on the speed that Toyota has shown this year. We alluded to Bell's 4 and Briscoe's 1. Hamlin is a guy that I think we just saw. We've already seen him do it this year. I think maybe even twice now this year. Hamlin's at a pole. It's more of just he's going out, I think, 3rd to last. So he's going to be it's him, Larson, and Gibbs. The last 3 cars going out. Okay, I think that's a good spot for this track. And again, I don't think this is a track where we're going to see a shocker win the pole. I think it's going to be a favorite that's going to win the pole. So I'm just taking my 2. I usually do 2 bullets on Saturdays, and these are my 2. I think these are the guys that I expect to qualify really, really well. I just think the odds makers have it wrong. I don't think it's going to be Bell.
Okay. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with betting Denny, Hamlin, betting Kyle Larson. I remember probably 2 years ago at this point, I think it was 23, maybe it was 24. I'm a couple years behind, but 24, just like every weekend, I felt like it was Denny Hamlin top 5, Kyle Larson top 5, take the outrights, take the polls, and let's see what happens. And it feels like this is one of those weeks where you're going to be wanting to be invested with them yet again. And Chris, get us out of placement props here as well, because I've been looking at this Chris Buescher top 10 line all week. I've thought, I already, even before you put this here, I actually put it in the description as like one of the prompts, because I was just so curious, like, is the community going to be on Chris Buescher? Because he's been really strong here at Kansas. Not great at all the comps, but he does have, like, you go and look at some of his comps over the past years, whether it's at Charlotte, whether it's Texas, Vegas, like, he's been top 5 at some of these tracks as well. So plus 110 feels like a generous number, specifically for a guy that comes in our projections P7.
Yeah, that was the big thing for me. I think RFK as a whole has been pretty strong this year. I really like that camp. It's really interesting watching that camp too, because I don't know if you've noticed, but every single race they all finish like together. Like it's never like one car off. They're all like right there. So yeah, I just think what we've seen from RFK so far this year. I know we just talked about a different package, but Darlington, they were obviously very, very strong. All 3 of them were. And then Kansas I think it's Buescher's maybe second best track of all tracks in his career. So yeah, it's a place that I just think he's going to run really well. I forever have the finish of the fall race in 2024 ingrained in my brain, where him and Larson are door banging coming to the finish line. That was Chris Buescher's race to win, man, and he got Larsoned.
In that spring too, was that also the same spring that him and Tyler Reddick got dusted up in one, and he ended up. So yeah, that is really that spring race actually. I think it was because I was on a Buescher outright, sticks in the back of my mind, and I think it might have been on a Reddick outright that day too, and I kind of got 2 for 1 screwed on that one.
Yeah, exactly. And he finished 6th this year at Vegas, so a comp from this current season. So honestly, I was kind of shocked to see plus money on the top 10. So yeah, I'm pretty happy to get invested in him. I just hope RFK is typically a team that's not the best at qualifying, but they've looked to be improved this year at qualifying.
Right.
So I mean, as long as he's a top 10 car in qualifying, I think he's going to be pretty much, I don't want to say a lock, but he's going to be comfortable in that top 10 at Kansas.
Yeah, he's going to be someone that I certainly have an eye out for after practicing qualifying, just to see if, like, I don't know how much shorter this would get, just because they haven't been the best, off the truck this season, but Chris Buescher is certainly someone I will be playing in fantasy and DFS as well. So great stuff there, Chris. I also have a matchup before we get out of the Cup Series, and boys, it's a doozy. This was maybe arguably my favorite matchup I've seen so far this season. It's Chase Elliott minus 140 at theScore bet versus Carson Hocevar, down 4 units. So it's a big thumper for me here. And look, I got burned last week, man, for fading the Hurricane. I had the no on the top 10 bet. I think he might have finished 10th exactly, or maybe like somewhere right around there. And it didn't feel like a good bet. Like once I saw Hocevar unload, but I was like, I'm going to take the chance. But I'm going right back here, because you look at it in the projections. I think it's the biggest matchup out there right now at a reasonable price, that you have a 5th place in our projections, Chase Elliott versus 18th in Carson Hocevar. Elliott won in the fall. He's also been top 10 in 5 of the last 6 races here in Kansas. Hocevar's best career finish at Kansas, P20. So even though he's been good at in the trucks here, not good in the Cup car as of yet. Chase is 5-0 against him at Kansas head-to-head since Hocevar's come into the Cup Series. And Chase also particularly strong at those comp tracks in some of those advanced metrics like average start, average finish position. And he's 6-0 against Hocevar at comp since 2025. So he is 5-0 here in Kansas, 6-0 at the comp tracks, Chris. So we'd have to be breaking a lot of trends here for it to go Hocevar's way. It could, trends are meant to break at some point, but at minus 140, it's my favorite bet of the week.
Yeah, I was actually just counting up the same thing as you were saying. I was like, holy, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, he hasn't lost, never lost to Hocevar. But yeah, I mean, at the comp tracks, average finish of 4th for Chase Elliott, average finish of 35th for Carson Hocevar.
Wow.
So yeah, this is a pretty big discrepancy. And I'm glad you brought up too, like comparing. That's one thing I love the model for. Like I always say, like I'm a numbers guy, so I like having the model. I have to have the model to kind of just help guide me, though, right? But I don't think it's the Bible. But I do like using the model for matchups, because I like looking for the biggest discrepancy. And it sounds like that's exactly what you did. And that's little secret here. That might be what I've been doing for the matchup contest. So it's been working.
All right. Well, maybe I need to be tailing those bets because you're certainly up there right now. But yeah, dude, this is always matchups have been my favorite market to get invested with the last several years. Haven't been as hot on them this season as I have been, but starting to get it back together a little bit. Kind of a cold run at the super speedways and the road course, but now starting. I think I'm like maybe like I want to say 5-2 the last couple weeks in head to head. So gonna keep getting invested here. That's the gainer of the week. Chase Elliott against Carson Hocevar. I'm gonna get us out of here with a before we get to the head-to-head matchup contest, a couple of O'Reilly series bets, Chris. And the first one, it's just gonna be. And I'm like, honestly, like this is like my least favorite O'Reilly series race of the season because I don't like betting on either of these drivers, but the numbers were just too good that I had to do it. So first, give me a little big country on the outright. Right over 30 to 1 at Kalshi. This is just a mispriced price enforcement play for me because one, I don't really bet. Like I haven't bet since Austin Hill screwed me out of an Eric Almirola top 5 last year at Indianapolis, and then he did it again to Taylor Gray top 10 at I think it was a couple weeks later Watkins Glen. I'm like, no, I can't bet this guy anymore. However, 30 to 1 at Kalshi is worth 0.2 of a unit for me. Just I got to play a guy. He's closer 18 to 1 everywhere else. So I think having a 30 to 1 ticket on a guy who finished third here last fall, you go back the year before P7, you go back to the fall of 2023 as well. P5, he has another P5 in his career as well. Before he was at RCR, and 6th in the standings right now. He was 10th at Vegas a couple weeks ago, so he's had some speed at these intermediate similar tracks. And at all comps last season, average finish of 6.3 is Austin Hill, 100% top 10 rate. So average running position of 6.7 in the fall. So just to know I have a guy who's going to be probably around 5th to 6th all day, and I have a 30 to 1 on him. You don't usually see those numbers in the Riley series. So a little big country for me here on just a misprice over at our friend's Kalshi's house.
Yeah, I mean, we need to see something from Austin Hill because he's getting showed up by Jesse Love right now in the same camp.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't hate the 30 to 1 though. You're right. I mean, it's a guy we've seen fast before at these intermediates. So you're definitely getting hopefully some CLV compared to where the other books have them. Yeah, I mean that's about all I have on.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he'll win. I don't know if he'll win. He probably won't. But just again, like we're gonna keep playing. Like that's why we do this show on Thursdays, is because we're trying to get some of that CLV. And look, sometimes you end up with a William Byron 30 to 1 ticket that you thought was gold. That is, might as well have been lit on fire. But sometimes you can get one across the line too. So that's what we're gonna try to do here with Austin Hill. And then Sheldon Creed, dude. So I've been riding all season long the Gator top 5s. I think I've bet Justin Allgaier for top 5 4 or 5 times this season already, and we've cashed it every single time. This week, this is not the best Justin Allgaier track. Personally, he can lead laps here. He doesn't usually get the finishes though. So I'm pivoting from arguably the hottest driver in the O'Reilly series to Sheldon Creed for a top 5 plus 160 at Bet365. Just a unit play for me here, but Creed right now, 2nd in the standings. He has 7 top 10s, 4 top 5s in 9 races. It felt like really after he got that first win, it really kind of like lifted the ceiling up here and raised that floor on Sheldon Creed. And you look at what he's done here in particular at Kansas, 5th last season in this Haas factory equipment, 5th the year before in JGR equipment, 3rd in RCR equipment. He does have one more start before that. He started P3 in RCR equipment, finished that race in 11th in his 2022. I believe that was his rookie season in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. So Sheldon Creed is a guy, 3rd at Las Vegas earlier this season. I mean, it was Larson in that race. It was Allgaier, and it was really Creed who had the speed, and top 10 in 2 of the 4 comps last season. So I've seen him being run out there around plus 115. So I think I'm getting a good number here at plus 160. Sheldon Creed is another guy I hate to bet, Chris. I'll tell you what, I'll get the most CLV on this guy for like crazy top 10 numbers last year or matchups. And then like, he just ends up on pit road when he shouldn't, or he'll have a speeding penalty. I hate betting Sheldon Creed. I hate betting big country, but hey man, I'm a numbers guy, and that's where they led me this week.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely looks improved this year. Like he's just been running a lot better.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean you're right though. I mean I was just quickly looking this up because O'Reilly is not my forte, so I'm just quickly trying to look up some stats here, but. Yeah, Allgaier, I mean, in the last 2 races here, average finish of 24.5. So definitely not a guy that we're really looking at. So yeah, I don't have any disagreements here. I think Sheldon Creed should be strong, and I think top 5 at plus money is more than fair.
And I also just don't trust William. As someone who's tried to bet William Byron, he comes down to the O'Reilly series. Like he's just, I'll bet Chase Elliott in this JRM equipment. I'll bet, or when it was Hendrick before. I'll bet Kyle Larson occasionally, but like William Byron's someone who does kind of struggle a little bit. And like even last week, I was really happy I held off on the Kyle Larson outright, like even money, because like it just felt a little too short for me, and it ultimately was. So love that there, Chris. Let's go ahead and get out of here, though. I want to update the head-to-head standings contest where, oh, there he is, Chris Collichio leading the way, 2-stroke lead. He's got 7 of them so far this season, and we got a new runner-up. It's Blurry Kyle, babe. What's up, Kyle? Appreciate that, man. He's coming in at 5th. Or in second with 5. We got Elliott with 5 as well. Going down a peg, we got Lars still hanging out with 4. Blaze Wolf with 4. And myself with 4. Lars, Blaze, myself, we've been having a couple strong weeks in a row. Jake, Rod, Trap, all still with 1. Got to get on the board there, folks, and still time to join. And you can win this plaque that we have over there from dynastydex.com. And you can also, we're going to be giving a mystery die cast. And Chris and Elliott and I, we can't win. So, right now, Chris, even though you're winning in spirit, you cannot collect that because you work for us. So Blurry Kyle right now in the lead for that. So still time to get invested with that. And with that being said, Chris, where do you want to go with your head-to-head matchup call contest? No pressure on here with a 2-shot lead.
Are you going to kill me if I say I don't know yet? I don't know.
That is okay. That is okay.
I didn't really see anything that I liked. I looked through everything, and I think I'm gonna wait till post practice and qualifying this time because there's some interesting ones out there, but I'm just not ready to pull the trigger post practice and qualifying. So but I do want to hear. Are you using the Chase Elliott one? I assume you are.
I'm gonna earlier again. I was thinking about a Larson versus Reddick matchup earlier, and because Larson also track record. I think he's like 6-2 against Reddick here, but it's -155. And like Reddick's another guy, like he could win every race. So it's like I don't really want to fade Tyler Reddick or make a habit of doing that. Especially after you just cashed me that ticket against Rowdy last week. So yeah, Chase Elliott here against Carson Hocevar. If you need one, Chris, and it doesn't get too juiced by Sunday, come on over on the NASCAR most popular driver side of this one. What do you say?
Is that allowed? I thought we couldn't pick the same matchup.
You can pick the same. Yeah, you can pick the same matchup. Giddy up.
Interesting. I didn't know that. However, I will say 365 does have some that are interesting too. There's actually fading the same person. There's a Chris Buescher versus
I
Carson
saw that
Hocevar
one. I did see that one. Yeah,
that one's kind of interesting. What was the other one I just saw? Larson over Blaney. We just talked about Blaney. I mean, I know he's been fast everywhere, but I kind of like the Chevy versus Ford with leaning towards the guy with the 1.5 average finish here, -150 towards Larson. That might be my lean right now. We'll see if I make the click before we get to Saturday. But that's probably where I might land here.
Okay, well, good stuff over there, man. And Chris, thank you so much for being here tonight with us. And Elliott out there in the streets right now, and he will be back in 2 weeks. We're gonna have Chris and Rod next week here for the NFL draft. Elliott and I will be kind of in the thick of it down there in Pittsburgh. So we're going to hand off things to you. Anything else we should kind of be keeping our head on the swivel for, Chris, coming out from you over the next week or two?
No, I mean, same old. I mean, you'll see a Saturday sweat card for me on Saturday, which is just betting some pole winners. But like I said, we're 3 in a row, hoping for 4 this weekend.
Yeah.
Let's go Larson Hamlin. And then Sunday, I always post my race card. If you ever want to find my plays as I bet them, I track them on Action Network. So as soon as I bet them, that's where they're tracked. And then I'll obviously put it in the Discord as well once my card is ready to go. So yeah, I mean, same old. We got Kansas this weekend. I'm excited. I think we didn't even talk about, I think Kansas is actually like a top 5 like bucket list track for me now, just because of how well it's raced. I think it'd be a fun track to go out of Kansas. So I don't know where you land on that, but I really want to get out there.
I've said it before. I've never been to like the plains of America, the Great Plains, if you would. And like, for some reason, the flatness is kind of calling me. Like, I don't know, man. It looks like some beautiful sunsets. Like I could just see myself posting up on a tailgate, drinking a couple Busch Light apples with the boys and hitting some bets. So I'm with you. I'm with you. Mark is saying, yeah, I want a Kansas meetup. So yeah. All right. Maybe we'll put that. Let us know if you guys from Kansas, is that a market we could maybe have an event in the future? Cause I do agree with Chris. It's some great racing. Thank you everyone who's tuned in. Hunter saying he does like Buescher this week. Chamberlain saying Awesome insight as usual, boys. Good luck this weekend. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We really, really appreciate all the support, not just hanging with us live here, but also make sure that you guys are subbing to that sub channel right now as well, youtube.com/@the_backroad to check that out. And then again, more conversation being had every single week, every single weekend, especially during those races in-betweenmedia.com/chat. We got great insight over there from all the viewers, all the analysts in there. So we appreciate them. And if you've rode with us this long, please do us a quick favor and give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe both to the main IBT channel and the Backroad sub channel. We'd appreciate that. Be sure to check out all that dope written content over at in-betweenmedia.com, and community still there, in-betweenmedia.com/chat. For my buddy Chris Collichio, I am Seth Woolcock. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time right here on the Backroad.